afternoon. My name is Mawra Ishaque. I am basically just a girl who lost a lot of weight and got internet famous for no reason. How many of you have heard the name Mawra before? Not a one person. I'm not surprised. I remember when I was in school, I went home one day and I asked my mother, "Ma, why did you name me Mawra? What does it even mean?" And she has an ever smiling face. So she said, "Mawra is an Arabic term, beta. It means to transcend, to go beyond limits." I did not want to go beyond limits. I just wanted a name that people could pronounce and my friends wouldn't twist to mock. You know, a normal name like the other normal people. Most people are afraid of being just another normal person, living just another normal life. But not me. Normal was all I searched for, craved for, ever since I was 9 years old. You see, I was always a big girl, born into a family where everyone was big boned. And by that I mean you could not fit my family in a Suzuki Desire. So it ran in my genes. Not to mention the thrice a week biryani and the twice a week butter chicken diet that was the norm in my house. That didn't help either. So at 9 years old, my weight was 62 kg. For context, I weigh 56 kg right now. So I weigh lesser than what I did when I was 9 years old. I remember going to school, looking at the other kids from afar and thinking, I'm not like them. Nobody invited me to play with them. I don't blame them. I would start panting 2 seconds into any game. I mean, for an outsider, it would be comical, no? This little fat brown girl with 2 pigtails huffing and puffing. For me, I was trying to delay every breath so I could look like the other normal kids playing. These experiences at school, at home, even on the roads, it started affecting me. I became quiet, distant, and in a house full of 25 people, helpless and alone. And then I found a way to temporarily numb that feeling. Food, lots of it. Cakes, chocolates, pizzas. And every time I ate, the world felt a little better. But you know, every action has consequences. And when you're happy, it truly shows. And all the happiness from food started showing visibly on my body. And I quickly went to 85 kg. Remember, I'm still in the 10-year-old range here. But then the most normal thing happened to me. I started getting bullied and trolled even more. But this time, it was by adults. You know, as kids, we look up to adults for love, understanding, guidance, compassion. But in my case, it were the adults in my life who were putting me down. And the joy that I found in food quickly got replaced by the guilt I felt every time I ate. But Mawra being Mawra, my 9-year-old brain came up with a genius solution. You know what? I cannot stop myself from eating the food, so I'm going to stop the food from staying in my body. And I came up with the fantastic solution of sneaking to the washroom every time I ate and throwing up my food. Thus started 15 years of battle with bulimia. Bulimia is an eating disorder wherein people eat a large portion of food and compulsively throw it out. It affects 75 lakh Indians and 1.5 million people globally. It is something we don't talk about, but it is something that is prevalent in some corner of almost every household. During these 15 years, all I thought about was losing the weight. You know, so that I can look like the other girls, wear cute clothes, have boys crush on me. And don't get me wrong, I did lose the weight. Sometimes 5, sometimes 8, sometimes 18. But I would quickly gain it back. And the only reason was my primary source of love was food. So I kept eating and I kept losing the weight, kept gaining it back till I turned 21, out of college, high on hormones, stupid in love, and heartbroken due to betrayal. And I decided enough is enough. I am going to do whatever it takes to be normal now. So I took every shortcut possible. Weeks of cardio, months of crash dieting, and I lost the weight. I lost 36 kg. That should be amazing, no? My problem should be solved. But it was not like that. Every time I looked into the mirror, I still saw phantom fat rolls, false chubby cheeks, non-existent heavy-set arms. The person looking into the mirror was not the person staring back. What sorcery was this? I felt uncomfortable again. So I turned to my old friend, food. And this time I hugged my friend so tight that I gained 50 kg in 7 months, and I became 115 kg, my highest ever. But then my mind came up with another genius idea. I was quite the genius, to be honest. And I thought, look, I'm not going to look like the other normal girls. Here's what I'm going to do instead. I am going to overcompensate and become the most accomplished professional in my field. I got hired as a journalist. I moved to another state. I made money. Till the setbacks of life caught up at 25. We are expected to have our lives together by 25, you know. Have a good job, decent money, friends you can laugh and cry with, someone you can see yourself marrying. And here I was at 25 with 2,000 rupees in my account, no job, back to my parents' house, little to no friends, no partner, and at my heaviest. And that reality, that realization stood staring at me. It was like a slap to my face. That was the time I realized that this is my life. My mind couldn't come up with any other genius idea to escape. No, this is my life. This is the reality. And it was too painful. It was so painful that I decided I didn't want it. So on my 25th birthday night, after 3 hours of crying, in my dark bedroom, lying on the floor, I decided I did not want it. And with 19 pills in my hand, I ended it. I actually felt in control, calm even. You know, the worst was over me, no? The worst is gone, it was behind. Till I felt the control slipping in and out of consciousness. This was too final. This was the full stop. And I panicked. That's the thing about death. When you're staring death in the face, all your life's problems become very insignificant. But years of being bulimic really helped me. I would rush to the washroom, and I purposely threw up as many times as I could till my throat hurt and my face became red. And then I prayed to God. The God that I once had so many complaints with, God, please, just this one time, I promise, I will turn my life around. And I think He heard. Well, He did hear. I'm alive here today. I woke up after 16 hours on my birthday evening, and that was the start of my new life, not normal, my new life. I started therapy for my eating disorders, for my body image issues. I started focusing on improving my physical health. But this time now, I didn't want to do it because I wanted to reach a goal weight. I wanted to do it because I did not want to be the person I was for 25 years, sad, alone, helpless, unhealthy, underconfident, and bitter. And just losing weight wouldn't change that. It would change my body, but it would not change my life. So what would? A decision that either the rest of my life can be exactly how it is today, or I can build one that's worth talking about. Maybe someday even on a TEDx stage. And once I took the decision, I started the most difficult journey of my life, but the most rewarding one. My first realization was, weight was never my problem. My perception of weight was. The impact that I allowed weight to have on the rest of my life, that was my problem. But why did I have that perception? I did not come out of my mother's womb thinking like that. It was the experiences I had. across ages, across stages, when my relatives would compare me to my cousins, making me feel lesser than. It was the negative taunting and bullying words of others. Someone asking me to not wear that dress because it made me look fat wronged me once. But every time I took out a dress, stood in front of the mirror and said, "Don't wear that, it makes you look fat," that was on me. I was my biggest bully. So if I was the one responsible, I had the power to change that. And it was time to change that. Not just by losing the weight, but by looking at everything that I believed to be true about myself, because I've always looked at it through the lens of fat. I had to relook, and I had to change that. The result? I no longer depend on food for love. I did and I still do indulge in food. It gives me pleasure, not happiness. Happiness is a choice we make. Now I do not look in the mirror with hate, disgust, contempt. Now when I look in the mirror, I see a kind, I see a beautiful, and I see a powerful woman. Where once I thought I wasn't good enough for anyone, and God sent me a great man who would probably go to war with the world for me. I moved to another city. I started my career in advertising. I became the head of the department. Just when I was about to get the biggest promotion of my life, I quit my job to study the science behind fitness. I started my transformation coaching business, which today is an award-winning international business. My transformation story started circulating on social media. The body that was once ridiculed and bullied, now the source of inspiration for many. I had newspapers write articles on me and news channels sing my bravado. I had truly transformed. I became a new person outside in. But you know what I still did not become? Normal. Remember my search for normal? Yeah, that wasn't it. I went from being invisible to being under the spotlight. Look, don't get me wrong, I'm sure you're thinking, this ungrateful woman. I would have thought too. I am very grateful to God, to my 115 kg self for taking and following through that decision, to my dad for loving me unconditionally, my mom for loving me protectively, to my siblings, Ali, Zamra and Alia for always being there, and my closest friends. But while I'm grateful, I cannot disregard the fact that I've had the biggest realization on my transformation journey. And if there is one takeaway, just one takeaway you take from my story, let it be this: there's no such thing as normal. The Indian society teaches us a false narrative. Complete your education by 23, have a good job by 25, get married by 28, have kids in your 30s, then live a clean, societally acceptable life till the day you die. That is the blueprint of normalcy, and nobody conforms to it. Not one single person sitting here is normal. Even the one who seemingly follows the blueprint, they have so many elements to them. They've made so many life choices that make them outliers. And they may just be able to hide it well. So after years of searching, decades actually, I've realized maybe we're not supposed to be normal. Maybe, just maybe, we're only supposed to be human, flawed, imperfect, trying our best, constantly improving, failing, rising, but above all, just human. And the day the human realizes the immense power they hold within, that is when the transformation journey begins. And that's when they're ready to go beyond limits. Thank you so much.